This first set of the World Championships VG Masters final.
One game down, potentially one more to go for Eduardo in order to take that title. But Guillermo, you're going to have to now think, I'm down one game, but I can still claw it back. We've seen it time and time again where players are able to focus and come in and take games 2 and 3. And this is going to be one big final to watch out for. Eduardo has the advantage now, and I think played so well around the Pokemon on the opposing side. We could see that Guillermo came in and immediately down that Rillaboom. But Rillaboom had the last laugh. It was there still at the end of the game and able to get those KOs.
Yeah, the whole way through that game, it looked like Guillermo was kind of capitalizing more turns and putting himself into a great position, and he was ahead. He got the Dynamax off, and he really got some return from his Groudon when he did Dynamax it, and it didn't look great for Eduardo, but I think in the back of his mind, he probably had that board position, the Rillaboom and the Thundurus, and he's thinking, okay, if I can get through these Dynamax turns of Guillermo's, and I get my board position set up, I know my Rillaboom's only got it can wake up on this next turn, and it will be able to attack, it will be impactful, but then the Incineroar is not going to be able to do anything, because if it does, I can punish that with my Defiant ability and really close out this game with the combination of Air and Grassy Glide.
I think one thing that was really detrimental for Guillermo there was getting the burn on the Groudon. It was extremely awesome to see the Swords Dance go up, puts him in a great position, but then the Calyrex coming in on Eduardo's side was just able to completely negate that. And then yes, you're Dynamaxing up your Groudon, you look to be in a strong position, but you're not going to be able to get the big KOs. And the fact that you were still leaving Pokemon on the field meant that they had the opportunity to retaliate and get a KO in return. And I feel like if you're Eduardo here, you're going to want to try and make sure that you keep that Groudon in check in game 2.
Yeah, because the Swords Dance are so threatening, you know, if you take away the burn like you mentioned, then how much damage would that Rock Tomb have done to the Thundurus? Would it have been enough to potentially knock it out? And like you say, take it out of the equation, so that endgame isn't a situation anymore. So the burn is something to keep in mind. It has got its pluses in this match because it can't be then put to sleep, but maybe there's another route for both of these players to look at going into game 2.
Well, they're shaking things up a little bit. It's Zacian with the Thundurus for Eduardo. And on the opposing side for Guillermo, it is the Grimmsnarl paired up with the fan favourite Charizard.
Charizard coming out here for Guillermo. And something he's not really leaned on too much in this tournament so far. So interesting to see that he's changing it up, going with his kind of plan B here, adjusting. And it's in a good position against the Zacian. But then you look on the other side of the field and there's that Thundurus there that really threatens it quite hard. But you do have as well the Grimmsnarl. It is known for having screen support, so it's going to be able to help the defenses of that Charizard, although it will be slower than both things on Eduardo's side of the field, so you've got to be aware of that.
Well, straight out of the blocks here, Eduardo is going to go for that Dynamax, judging by the item, and of course Pokemon on the field, it's going to be that Thundurus. So immediately applying great pressure with something like a Max Airstream in order to try and keep the speed advantage on Eduardo's side, particularly when you're facing down against something like a Charizard that can also go for those amazing Max Airstreams. It does look like it's going to be a Dynamax apiece though, Lee. Do you think it's that Charizard?
It's got to be the Charizard. I'd be surprised if it was Grimmsnarl, but I think it will be. Yeah, both players going for their Dynamax here. Oh, Gigantamax here with the Charizard. It is hitting the field. There's no sun up, so it's not going to have that solo power boost, but it'll be interesting to see what item is played on that Charizard.
Yeah, and I love the adjustment. Bringing Charizard into this game too. You can get that G-Max Wildfire set up and start going for the residual damage. Grimmsnarl's going to help out as well with the scary face, reducing the speed of the opposing Zacian by 2 stages here. Thundurus is then going to be the first to move outside of that Prancer ability and going for the Max Airstream, and you can see that it is not enough to get the 2 hit on the opposing Charizard. It is of course going to give the speed boost to Eduardo, but this does still leave the Charizard in the position where it can go for some big damage with that G-Max Wildfire. It's going to fall down onto the opposing Zacian. It is not enough to get the KO, but the residual damage will lead.
That's a huge survival here. The Zacian getting that speed drop, so you think, oh no, it's in the worst possible position. It's not going to get any attacks off here, but it is, and it is able to go into that Grimmsnarl and pick up a big knockout, Lou.
It may be slow at the moment, but Zacian is still powerful. Gets the 1-hit KO on that Grimmsnarl, but now means Guillermo doesn't have the utility to set up things like a Reflect or a Light Screen. Zacian will go down to that G-Max Wildfire, so a big KO apiece very early on in this game too. But the critical thing here, Lee, is they now have the option to bring a Pokemon in from the back.
Yeah, they do, and it'll be interesting to see what both players have kind of opted for this time around compared to that first game, because they've obviously mixed things up a little bit from that first game. But a big turn here, both players kind of going straight in turn 1 with those Dynamax, the Gigantamax, and both players losing a pretty pivotal Pokemon to their side of the field, you know. The big thing for Guillermo is he's got no speed control now other than Max Airstream, but if you're going down the Max Airstream route, the Thundurus is already ahead of you and it's already got a Max Airstream onto the field.
Yeah, we're now in a dangerous position for that Groudon, you know. It's great that it's coming in and throwing the Sun on the field to help Charizard out, using its solar power ability to boost up its moves. But we saw in the previous game how that Shadow Rider Calyrex that Eduardo has now brought in was able to just shut down that Groudon with a Will-O-Wisp. So if you're Guillermo now, do you play a little bit defensively, or do you maybe try and call a hard read and go for that Sword Stance?
It's hard to say, but the big thing is now when you look at the Calyrex, you'd be a bit concerned about the focus sash there, because you know you need to break that. But with the residual damage that you're seeing, not going to get that, as we see that Charizard just go for the Max Guard this turn.
Yeah, so Charizard not taking any damage from the Max Lightning or the Astral Barrage, but Groudon is going to have to take a little bit of damage, just about a third there, and is able to fire off a Precipice Blaze. Now I love this play, you're not going to hit the Thunderous, but you're going to do a significant chunk to the Calyrex, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough when paired up with the Wildfire to actually get the KO, so Calyrex is going to hang around a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to get another opportunity to fire off another Astral Barrage if it wants to, or go for another option, potentially it's carrying. We have seen that Will-O-Wisp, it can threaten the Groudon. If you can land that again, you really shut down the kind of offensive presence that the Groudon has.
Thunderous is going to go for a Max Lightning, this time find his mark on that Charizard and get the knockout against it. Big KO there for Eduardo, leaving Guillermo with just 2 Pokemon remaining. Groudon's still out on the field, and the electric terrain is going to be set as well.
Yeah, and now the Calyrex is going to be able to get a single target Astral Barrage. It's going to be more powerful than that spread attack into this single target Groudon, and will it be enough to pick up the knockout?
This could be huge and swing the momentum into Eduardo's favor. The single target Astral Barrage will not get the KO.
It survives!
It goes for the Rock Tomb, able to just hang on and deal with that Calyrex. Calyrex is out of there, but I mean, what a precarious situation for Groudon. Thunderous still being so formidable as well. I mean, wow, what a turn. My heart is racing.
Both trainers are just trading blows at this point, picking up knockouts left, right, and center. And here we go, the Groudon survival. They're able to get the knockout onto the Calyrex. It's huge. Just out of, obviously with the residual damage, they're helping out a bit. But both players now down to that last 2 Pokemon.
I mean, Incineroar is not the Pokemon you want to bring in while facing down against that Thunderous. It's going to be able to get a Define boost thanks to Intimidate being thrown down against it. And with the speed that that Thunderous is applying at the moment, it's going to be in a great position to deal some good damage to something like this opposing Incineroar that we saw kind of play out towards the end of Game 1. The one issue we've got though is the Dynamax turns are over. You can now go for a fake out into Thunderous.
You can, yeah, and you've got to keep in mind that that residual damage will be stacking each turn as well for the next couple of turns. So that has to be kept in mind for Eduardo. He does have Rillaboom on the field though. The Grassy Terrain is up, he has got access to Grassy Glide. You can go for it into that Groudon. You remove that, you only need to concentrate onto that Incineroar.
Well, Rillaboom going to go for the fake out into the opposing Incineroar. Thunderous files out with a Wild Charge. Not going to be able to get the KO because Incineroar's not going to be able to move in this turn as Groudon goes for the Rock Tomb. Really targeting down the Thunderous and will be able to get the KO. It's just Rillaboom against Groudon and the Incineroar. Do you think Rillaboom's got enough, or are we going to see a Game 3?
This is going to go right down to the wire here. The Groudon on minimal health, but able to get the knockout onto that Thunderous here. And the Incineroar not in a great position, but is it in range from something that the Rillaboom's got? Maybe something like that high horsepower. Can it go into that slot, pick up the knockout, and then survive whatever the Groudon's able to throw out onto you to pick up the knockout the next turn with the Grassy Glide? Problem is, if the Groudon has got access to big fire type attack boosted by the Sun, it will be able to potentially pick up a knockout onto the Rillaboom depending on how it's trained.
Yeah, Groudon just going for the Rock Tomb, doesn't seem to be carrying that fire-type move into the Rillaboom, does a little bit of damage, of course reducing the speed of that Rillaboom, allowing the Incineroar to go first, hit the Sun with a Flare Blitz into Rillaboom, gets the KO, we are in a Game 3 lead!
There we go, Guillermo swinging that momentum back to bring this game, tying it up, taking it to a Game 3 here. That was incredible. That was backwards and forwards, you know, they're both trading blows. What seemed like every turn, something was getting knocked out. A very fast-paced game, which is not what I expected going into a Game 2. Incredible set from both players. Guillermo doing extremely well, though, to get that end position like Eduardo got in that Game 1. He kind of flipped the tables there, and he pulled this back. 1-1 loop into a Game 3.
I mean, both of our trainers there put the pedal to the metal and the offensive pressure was on. I have absolutely mad respect for that Groudon as well, surviving on only 4 hit points remaining. It's been a very different match and all over there for Guillermo if the Groudon wasn't able to survive, but it was able to and pushed through to get a Game 3. I mean, going into this point of the competition, it's one more game, and then we will have a world champion. It's going to be one of these guys, either Eduardo or Guillermo.
All comes down to this, Lou. I can't imagine how both players are feeling though right now. They must be feeling so nervous with knowing that everything's on the line going into this next match, and it's so close as well. You can see the caliber of both of these players. You know, the skill level is the pinnacle of this, you know, this scene, you know, in the VG format. These are the two top players in the 2022 format, and they're heading off here, and they're showing and giving everything in this match, and it all comes down to this next one game.
I mean, it's incredible. There were so many adaptations going into that game too, and when you're now going into a game 3 and everything's on the line, do you maybe go back to the strategy of the game that you won? Or do you go for something completely different, throw off your opponent, and try and do something to enable you to get that win?
I think if you've got a trick up your sleeve that you maybe hold them back, this is the time to do it. Why sit on it? You know, this is the point. This is where the combination of that will pay off for you. So you've got to bring it this game if you feel and believe like it's the right thing to do, of course. I think we've seen some interesting approaches from both players here. We've seen which Pokemon are the pivotal ones for both sides of the field. I think for Eduardo, it's obviously that Thunderous and King Guillermo kind of control it. He does have options to hit it for good damage. Obviously, we didn't see the Lunala in that match, but it does have access to that Meteor Beam. It is an option there. But on Guillermo's side, the big threat is obviously that Charizard.
Speaking of Charizard, it's back. Head up with the Grimmsnarl once again, and Eduardo has gone for the Thunderous and Zacian combination for this game 3.
Yeah, same Pokemon out for this game 3, so both players very comfortable with their choices here. Got the same situation again with the Charizard. It is putting a lot of, you know, it's threatening that Zacian. But without the sun, we know the Zacian can survive the big G-Max Wildfire, you know, at least get an attack off before it goes down. So that's something to consider, maybe adapt, change a little bit going into this turn.
I was going to say, I'd probably love to see just the road Groudon switch in, but not happening here. It's going to be a Dynamax on that Thunderous. Going to be playing out very similarly to the way Game 2 is here. Both of these trainers decided to Dynamax very early in Game 2 and apply that offensive pressure straight away. We see the Dynamax for Eduardo, but not for Guillermo in this turn, instead opting to go for a Protect and play a little bit defensively. Coming back onto the battlefield, Grimmsnarl is going to set up the Reflect, and I really like this adjustment. The Scary Face wasn't too beneficial in the end. Being able to get the defensive measures up are going to protect you from both of these physical attackers on Eduardo's side. Behemoth Blade comes out from the opposing Zacian, however, it will connect onto that Grimmsnarl, but with Reflect in play, it's still not going to be able to survive.
No, it goes down, and that, I think that the decision here, you know, Guillermo's like, if the Zacian stays on the field, which it will this turn, I'm protecting with my Charizard, I have to get some more out of it. I didn't get any value out of it that last game because the Scary Face, it was gone after the Zacian kind of was knocked out. Now you've got the Reflect in play against these big physical attackers. It's really way more impactful, especially protecting your Charizard that you saw obviously taking the Max Airstream there that turn, but not taking as much damage as Guillermo would have been taking that previous game without the Reflect.
I mean, this is where things could change. Sun on the field, Charizard could be in a position to go for that Gigantamax and put down big pressure with the G-Max Wildfire, try and deal with the Zacian. But the issue is Eduardo has got such speedy at the moment, something like a Max Lightning followed up by Behemoth Blade could be enough to completely remove that Charizard from play.
Yeah, and that's the you know, if you get a Max Lightning into that slot, you've got to be very aware, but the Reflect gonna at least help you take that a lot better. And then you get that the G-Max Wildfire off. You're a bit later on in the game as well when you decide to go for the Gigantamax if it is a Charizard at all. You know, you've got an extra turn of that Gigantamax because you kind of protected the last turn, whereas, you know, Eduardo's got this turn with his Dynamax Thunderous and then one more turn, and then that's the end of it. So he needs to really make sure that he's getting the most out of these turns while it's still intact. And be interesting to see if Guillermo is indeed going for that this turn.
I mean, you're right, picking the time to click that Dynamax button can be so critical, and even though Eduardo's already gone for it, Guillermo held back a turn, and Gigantamax Charizard is now going to be on the battlefield applying pressure, doubling up with HP Scout to give it the extra bulk it may need in order to survive a double up. If you're Guillermo, you want to get the G-Max Wildfire out on the field. Zacian is going to move first, going for that Behemoth Blade. Now, even though it's not necessarily super effective against the Charizard, it's still in its Dynamax form. It's going to do a good chunk of damage and possibly put it in a vulnerable position to take a super effective attack like the Max Lightning. Thunderous goes for it, Charizard takes it, but is not able to survive.
It's down, that is a huge turn. I think you were banking on that Charizard surviving here. It was slower than both the Pokemon on the Eduardo's side of the field. If the Charizard was able to survive through that Reflect, then it would have been able to get an attack off and really swing that momentum back into Chimera's favour. But unfortunately, that was not the case. Now that huge behemoth blade able to get enough damage where the Thunderous able to capitalise and pick up the knockout and not have any impact from that Charizard at all.
I mean, the crowd is going wild here with 2 turns in, 2 KOs down for Guillermo, and Eduardo in such a strong, commanding position to try and take the title.
Yeah, and now it gets a little bit worse as well with that Thunderous's defiant ability activating, getting an attack boost from the Intimidate on that Incineroar. And the difference is this time around, Eduardo has still got that Zacian on the field and a very healthy Thunderous now. Boosted attack, it's going to be doing a lot of damage into that Incineroar.
Well, Zacian, I think, wisely going for the Protector. You've got Fake Out on the opposing side. You don't want to be accidentally boosted. There's no Fake Out, actually. It's just going to be a max Airstream into the Incineroar. Not enough to get the KO, but again, Eduardo just dealing so much damage against Guillermo that there isn't really the respite to have any option for recovery. Speed is obviously going to boost up on Eduardo's side as Groudon goes for the Rock Tomb, trying to counter that speed boost, but just dealing such insignificant damage. Thunderous is just in such a healthy position with another Defiant boost that it is so strongly positioned to get a KO on this next turn. That said, Incineroar has something to say about it. It's like, I'm sorry, Lou, no, I've had enough of Thunderous, let's get it out of here. I want a KO too.
Yeah, and you see that the double up really nice as well. Obviously taking advantage of the turn where there is fake out pressure. That's why we saw this action protect there, not do any damage this turn, and really Guillermo capitalising on it. And he has to capitalise like that every turn going forward now. Unfortunately, the Calyrex Shadow Ride are now hitting the field, which is going to be faster than both that Groudon and the Incineroar, and Zacian in a position to potentially pick up the knockout here, and the double up onto the Groudon looks like it's incoming.
And in contrast to previous matches in this set, we know the focus sash is on that Calyrex, but there's no wildfire and no sand to chip away at it. So if you're Guillermo, you have to double into it to remove it from the field. Zacian's going to go for the Behemoth Blade into Groudon, not dealing too much damage, but just chipping away at it to allow the Calyrex to return with an Astral Barrage. Now the Grimmsnarl earlier did not set up a light screen, so this is going to deal big damage, get the KO on Incineroar, and put Groudon in range of a KO in the next turn.
This is getting right down to the wire here. We are seeing that Grimnir ability activating, getting a boost in its special attack for the Calyrex here, so it's going to hit even harder that next turn. Precipice Blades does connect, but not enough to take down the Calyrex here for Eduardo.
I mean, you get rid of Zacian and you bring Eduardo down to the last 2 remaining Pokemon, but we've already seen the way the speeds are playing out. Rillaboom's going to join the field, however, set that grassy terrain, and I think Rillaboom's one of the key Pokemon in games 1 and 2. But in this game 3, it's really been coming down to the way that Thunderous is able to pivot around and have this Calyrex in a position where it's going to be able to get a KO.
Yeah, and I think the key factor there was how long that Zacian was allowed to stick around on the field. And as we see,
Eduardo Cunha is your 2022 Pokemon World Champion!
Incredible games, incredible set. Massive congratulations to Eduardo, our 2022 Pokemon World Champion.
That was incredible. The crowd is going wild. Eduardo is celebrating on the stage. Huge congratulations to our champion. Wow. I mean, what a set.
I'm still catching my breath. I'm sure everyone here is. What a moment. And for us to be here to experience it, incredible. Massive congratulations to both of our competitors here. Performed extremely well throughout this entire event. And what a set. It was perfect. A perfect way to end a perfect weekend.
And you know what makes it 10 times more perfectly? Gastrodon is a world champion.
About that, yeah, the Gastrodon has, and it was, you know, to be in that game, but it was there, and it definitely did the job when it was called upon throughout this tournament. The plays there from both players were, you know, we saw the game 1, Guillermo capitalizing and using his kind of what he's renowned for, play style, to really take the game to take the game to Eduardo's side of the field, and it was just incredible to see. Then Eduardo adjusts a little bit in that second game. Incredible to see how maybe identify some ways around what Guillermo was trying to do. Obviously there was adjustments as well for both sides of the field, but that Thunderous was so impactful, was able to shift the momentum there, and then we really saw how impactful it was at the game, and how getting rid of the Charizard was the big thing for Eduardo, and closing that up and winning in the title.
I mean, I think the Charizard adaptation for Game 2 was really good for Guillermo. You know, being able to get the G-Max Wildfire on the field and applying such formidable pressure with a Pokemon that can deal so much damage to a lot of the Pokemon on Eduardo's side, like the Rillaboom. You can also deal well with the Thundurus, the Zacian, for example. And I feel like coming into that Game 3, Eduardo just knew that he had to get rid of it and called all the double targeting perfectly in order to get those KOs. And we saw in the Game 2 how close he was to actually wrapping it up in a 2-0 set if he'd been able to KO that Groudon. But thankfully for Guillermo, it was able to survive and push to a Game 3.
Yeah, and that's the big thing there. We were treated to a Game 3, which is what it's all about. You really want these games to come down to the wire, and I really think it pays tribute to how, you know, skilled both of these players are, and it was a real showcase today, and an exceptional game between two top players from Europe. And I think the big things from the game were that the Thundurus was a massive impact, and the adjustment where Eduardo decided to bring it over the Gastrodon, didn't decide to lead it, and said, well, okay. I mean, you saw how fast-paced that second game was. It was way more fast-paced than that even first game, where they just trading blows one after another, and then it got to the end position where Eduardo was in a position to you know, close that one up.
I mean, it is the World Championships. You have to lay it all out on the table and have no regrets about your play. And one thing that I really loved about the way Guillermo played that, particularly, I think very early on, going for the Hypnosis so early, going for the Sword Stance, he was prepared to take those risks and capitalize on them. But just unfortunately for him, Eduardo showing why he also was worthy of this finalist spot, because he was able to play around it and go, I see the opportunity you're going to try and go for, and I'm going to negate your impact of it.
Yeah, and almost switching role reversals with these Pokemon choices as well, you know, like I mentioned there, just leading out with the Thundurus and saying, oh, well, I'm just going to get these airstreams onto the field, I'm just going to get the damage on, and I'm going to prevent you from bringing that Incineroar in whenever you feel like it. And if you do decide to go for the Rock Tomb, well, I don't mind the speed drop really, because I've already had a speed boost, so you're just kind of mitigating my already fast speed. So, you know, I think that things like that identified throughout the set were the big things, and why Eduardo's been able to kind of move on and take the trophy.
Well, I think it's time to kick it over to Anna in the stage to interview our newest world champion.
The casters just called you the newest world champion. How does it feel to be called world champion?
It's insane. I'm speechless. Well, not really speechless, otherwise I wouldn't be here. But I'm just so happy. I don't know how to describe it. Thank you for everything, everyone. Really.
Let's reflect on the match just for a second.
Yes.
What was the moment that you think, when you look back on this in many years, what's going to be that most memorable, important moment during this match?
I think trusting myself on not going back to my Game 1 plan in Game 3, knowing that it was likely that it would stick to his game-winning plan in Game 2, was extremely key. And also believing that attacking there with Zacian was the right play. Going in and getting rid of the Grimmsnarl would put me in the right spot to clean up. And yeah, just trusting myself, trusting my ability to flowchart the matchup and know what to do in the end. And yeah, I'm just happy I stuck to that.
Learning how to trust yourself takes some serious practice and preparation. I know that there are a lot of people who have helped you with that. Do you want to say hello or thank you to anyone?
Yes, thank you all so much. I would, trust me when I say this, I know it's cliche, but I would not have been here without all the support and help I get from everyone. Obviously wouldn't be here without my family either, especially my mom, who've been, just supporting me always and, making me a better person, helping me develop into a much better human being than what I was, and being able to stand here proud of my accomplishment despite what I might have done in the past.
That's wonderful. And what advice now from this spot would you like to give others who someday will look to you for advice as world champion?
Of course, the advice is to, never fear learning from others. There's no shame in reaching out, asking for help, be it in Pokemon or in life. It's absolutely no shame. We all need help. We can all live alone. And yeah, just, stick to your friends too, because those are the ones that you will take out of this game. It's not the trophies, it's not the Pokemon itself, it's what you learn and the friends you make along the way.
That's such meaningful advice. Thank you so much. Casters, back to you.
Anna, and thanks Eduardo for what are some wonderful words there. Massive congratulations to him. But fortunately, this is the sad part because that is it. It's exciting, it's overjoying because we've got a brand new champion and we've had, day 1, day 2, and then we had the top cut, and now we've had Championship Sunday, and it's over, and we've been able to crown our champion. It's been an emotional roller coaster. We've seen some amazing games this weekend. We've had some amazing experiences. People sharing them, coming here, after so many years where we weren't able to have this event, and for it to be back now, and then to kind of cap it off with this match, that speech right here with all of you, it's just a really precious and special moment.
I couldn't put it any better myself, Lee. I think I'm tearing up a little bit. The emotions have been incredible, and we're now here finishing off Championship Sunday after having day 1, day 2, top cut, and that phenomenal finals, and it has just been the most incredible weekend of memories for Pokemon. But let's just refresh a little bit how the final bracket looked for the video game series. There were so many amazing players throughout all of the World Championships, but you can see how our top 8 came down to top 4 to the finals, and there you see Eduardo being the victor at the end of the day.
Incredible roots, you look at the players that these two have kind of overcome to get to the finals today. It's absolutely incredible. The caliber of players, you always want to judge yourself against the best, and that's what these two players have done to get to the finals. And Eduardo obviously judging himself against the best, against Guillermo, because he is an extremely high level, top caliber player. So amazing journeys. It's been a special one to be a part of and kind of watch the journey unfold this weekend.
I mean, the show's not quite over yet. We will, of course, have our amazing closing ceremony, which I am sure everybody is looking forward to. But just to kind of sign off a little bit from the desk here, I've been the writer at Josh Cromie, casting alongside Lee Provost, and it has been such a joy to cast with you after so many years working together.
It's been
to be
amazing.
Here at Worlds, at Finals,
Oh.
amazing.
I'm going to cut you off. Before
Okay.
we do anything else, throughout our time,
Yes.
we have had a bit of a trend, especially this season, and it is our cheeky little friend. So we got you a gift to celebrate Gastrodon. And obviously you're doing well in the final as well.
It's a world champion. I'm honoured to have you join us here on the desk, Gastrodon. Oh, I mean, he doesn't look too happy, but
He's happy.
he's only got a little bit of screen time.
He's really
Let's
happy.
pop in there, and he can round out the show. And from both myself and Lee, our other video game casters, Rosemary, Adam, Sierra, and Joe, we want to say a thank you for coming on this journey with us. And sit back, relax, and enjoy that closing ceremony.
Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today we have crowned a bunch of new Pokemon World Champions, and to recap the action, I have some wonderful casters for all of you. Got some new friends here on the couch. I mean, first of all, that finals was crazy. As the VG person, actually, a bunch of us were VG. Gabby now on Go. Sorry. But, I mean, first of all, that finals was truly incredible. I think it lived up to the expectations. Congratulations to Eduardo, obviously, for one of the most, if not the most dominant World Championship victory in video game championship history. And I kind of want to just go through all the real respective games and what the most exciting moments for all of you were this weekend.
Well, we definitely have that VGC representation so it's fantastic. But no, honestly, at every point of the competition, Rodo, you cannot deny that it was on a different level this weekend, every point of the road, and it was so cool to see this face-off in the finals, and we were out there watching it with the crowd. There are some points of the competition you do not know at any point who's going to come out ahead, and I think being able to have that going down into the World Finals is spectacular.
Yeah, for Pokemon Go, I mean, we had some really fun times in our finals. We actually had a best of 5 into a bracket reset, into another best of 5, and both best of 5s hit all 5 games. So it took 10 games to determine the first Masters Division World Champion in Pokemon Go, which was super, super hype. And it's only the beginning. I mean, this was our first year at Worlds, and we're already on our way to our next regional championship series. And who knows, Who knows who's going to be there next year?
I think when it comes to the TCG, just the thing I was most excited about was just the wide variety of decks that we got to see. Like going into day 1, going into day 2, we had expectations about the metagame, and one thing that happens consistently with the TCG is the casters expect one thing, and the players were always mixing it up. As the field narrowed down, we still got to see decks that, like Palkia for sure, that were all over the place that we were expecting to see. But even those individual matches were incredibly hyped going to Game 3. You know, when your opponent plays Roxanne, that resets your opponent down to 2 cards, and then you have no resources left, and you have to get that final top deck to bring yourself back into the game. A lot of clutch moments in the grand finals for those too.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we had some really great finals throughout all the different games this year. And of course, we had 5 different games alone at this World Championship. That's the most, I think, ever. And it's just amazing to see so many Pokemon fans from all around the world come to Worlds after a very long time. I'm sure all of us missed it. I missed it very much, and the energy out there was absolutely electric. You know, I want to also let you guys highlight maybe some of the biggest moments where maybe players who don't follow the respective games that you all casted this weekend, you know, what's the big picture summary? You know, what were the most exciting moments that you think you can convey to the viewers?
Well, I think one of the biggest things for VGC, it doesn't really come down to a particular moment that happened over the weekend, but the fact that this is the first Worlds in a while, and it's going to be the only World Championships for the Sword and Shield era. We're going to Scarlet and Violet soon, so the World Champions this weekend was the only show of what the Sword and Shield meta has to offer, and the people who were able to come out on top can indisputably say that they were the best at this era of Pokemon competition, and I think that's really special in a way.
Yeah, I think for Pokemon Go, the thing that jumps out at me as being the most special was just how excited everybody got. You know, the energy in the hall during the finals, even during the matches leading up to the grand finals, was just absolutely electrifying. And it's such a great time to pick up the game. There's an event going on right now where you can actually catch a lot of the Pokemon that ended up being super relevant to the tournament. And I'm hoping that people see the excitement and just want to join in. And I think that this weekend overall was a great showcase of, hey, this is what the game is, this is how you play, and maybe you can be that next champion.
And when it comes to the TCG, the fact of the matter is when we went into the top of the bracket, the players were already prepared to counter the best deck from the previous big tournament in NAIC. And so the quick adaptation, I think, is really the name of the game for the TCG. If you don't follow it, that's one of the reasons it becomes hard to follow, is because things are constantly adapting and changing. So if you want to jump into TCG and really have it speak to you, you've got to get your friends together and just dive in head first. The community is incredible, and they want to show everybody the magic themselves.
I absolutely love that. And a quick reminder for all of you, this is not the closing ceremony. We're just recapping some of the fun action here. We're all very excited to watch the closing ceremony ourselves, so if you're in the arena right now, don't go anywhere. We're currently setting up for that. If you're watching online as well, don't go anywhere. Don't exit out of your browsers, because we have some really exciting announcements and obviously a very exciting celebration for our brand new World Champions. But as we kind of just, you know, set up for the closing ceremony right now, I also want to ask all of you, what was maybe the most exciting match that was on stream that maybe you know, viewers weren't able to tune into the entire tournament you would really highlight?
Do I have to go first for this one? I feel like I need a moment to kind of...
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff.
I feel like I know Gabby's
Reverse
answer.
order?
but-
Oh, yeah, reverse order.
Okay, great. So for the TCG, I had the pleasure of actually casting the junior finals, and great glimpse into the future of the card game. But I talked a little bit earlier about Roxanne, where your opponent can set you down to 2 cards left in your hand, and you have one more draw to kind of make the magic happen. One player got that card, played the Roxanne to put their opponent in the same situation, and then right back. That clutch final draw into the back and forth into the final draw was glorious. Please rewind the tapes, watch it for yourself. It was amazing.
Yeah, I feel like my answer is a little bit cliche, honestly, but it really was the Masters Grand Finals. I think that it was a really good showcase of, okay, this is what the game is currently. It wasn't just all your Trevenants, your Registeels, your Walreins, which is a core that's really dominated the regional championship series up until now. There was a Shadow Venusaur, there was a Altaria that did really well. And it's just, again, a really great showcase of this is what the game has to offer, and this is what high-skilled level play is. So, a little bit cliche saying the grand finals. I think there were also some amazing matches leading up to that as well, but maybe start with that one and just work backwards, you know, get to the beginning.
Then the spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry. Well, I just want to say there was a couple of matches that featured some really unique picks. The Lysopod come out. We got to see a couple of the restricteds that we don't get to see quite as often that have actually been really strong in the format, like Lunala. And any matches that start to feature those sorts of Pokemon, there is even Ditto coming out at some point, are really nice because I feel like there was actually a lot for this meta format to offer. I know that there has been a lot of Groudon and Kyogre and Zacian running around, but there was actually so much more. We can't highlight every single match. So being able to see those games that had those unique Pokemon, realizing there is more than just, you know, the finals that we have going on is cool. But to say just one, I like Blastoise in the juniors finals.
Blastoise actually dominated the junior finals. I was so happy to see that pick. I think juniors, especially across all our games, right, is always an exciting division to watch because maybe it's not always, you know, just the very meta stuff that makes it all the way to the top. And of course, you see surprises in seniors and masters as well, but in juniors, I feel like there's just a lot of room for that kind of variety. And so, of course, it was a long road to get to this World Championship, and we actually have a video recapping the road to this World Championship specifically.
Every player's goal is to compete at the World Championship of Pokemon.
It's like magic.
With a break as long as this, people are here to show that they're ready to keep things kicking.
I'm predetermined to prove myself.
When the season got announced again, it felt incredible.
I was definitely taking the game for granted.
Having close friends is the thing. That's why I love it so much, and that's really why it all means so much.
It's so good to actually be back in that scene.
Hopefully I'll get the trophy this year.
Well, yeah.
Just a short hype video. I mean, I like to hear the thoughts and little snippets from everybody who's been involved up to this point. Players, casters, even our wonderful production staff have been running around behind the scenes. You know, big shout out to all of them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this World Championship was definitely more magnificent than any one that I'd participated in before. I've been to almost, I think, every Worlds from 2011 onwards, and, you know, in the one in Orlando back in 2008 as well. And yeah, it was like I walked in and I remember I like turned to the right side, which is kind of where all the players were competing. I was like, okay, this looks like normal. And I turned to the left side where the stage is set up and it just looked absolutely crazy. We had, you know, it's like double story. The stage itself is grand. There were bleachers. I think it fit over like 1,000 people. It was also amazing to see the crowd out there, right? Like it was literally full. You know, people were trying to get down to watch the finals and all the seats were filled up. And so we've been talking a lot about our individual games, but I also want to hear what excited you most about this Worlds.
I mean, I'll go first. I think that it's just been incredible to be back. Like, it's been such a long time since the Worlds in 2019 in DC. And I had this amazing moment on the first day where I saw a good friend of mine who I hadn't seen in years, literally since that Worlds. And, like, being able to say hello and hug and be like, I haven't seen you in forever, how have you been? And just having those moments consistently really is something special. And definitely something I'm going to remember from Worlds.
Yeah, we've waited so long to have Worlds again, and I never wanted to have that wait, but it was worth the wait. The way everything has leveled up. There was the cable cars that were outside. you all got a chance to ride them.
I rode them before they got the decorations on, and I was like, come on.
You have to go back.
I know. Hopefully they're still there.
Yes. But like everything that they've done to level up this Worlds is amazing. And as well, we've all been playing online. There's been these communities that have evolved, and being able to meet people for the first time that we've gotten to know for years, and then meeting people we haven't seen for years, it just seems like the biggest family reunion. And I know it goes back to your answer, but it's really true, and that's why this World is going to be one of the more special ones for me.
I mean, this is my first time in London, so I have that double whammy of being at such a big event and finally being here in this beautiful town. And it's just, everything is so grand. When I saw the stage for the first time, you know, we were here for rehearsals and they were still getting everything set up, but even not fully put together, it was still jaw-dropping. Just the love and care that's put into every single aspect of this venue, all of the Pokemon posters and everything, larger than life, and it's just a great love letter to the fans of the community, and I can just feel that love and energy that's the first moment you step into this building.
I think for me personally, there were a couple things, but first of all, when I saw that stage, I was like, man, I want to be out there as a player again. Like, it feels so sick, right, to be able to win on that kind of stage with those kind of fans cheering. And I think each year as the game grows more and more, all the games grow more and more, it's amazing to see it become more of a spectator sport, right? And so I think it's just amazing how much larger these events have been. And I think also one thing that's really exciting is that I've met so many people who this is their first tournament. This is their first time attending not just Worlds, but a Pokemon tournament. And I think for a lot of players or a lot of kind of casual fans, it's not about, oh, I really, really love TCG or VGC or Go specifically. It's more, I just like Pokemon. And I think this year's World Championship was such a beautiful celebration of that, where there were so many cool things that you could do outside of just watching the competitions themselves. And I think that's amazing, right? The number of fans that I've met who are maybe local to London. I also love that, this is the first European World Championship. Feels long overdue. I'm very excited to see where the next World Championship will be as well. I think we'll be finding out shortly. But I think it's just amazing to be able to celebrate Pokemon and not focus just on the competition part. Obviously, the competition part is what we're here for, but there's so much more to the table as well. So I think one point I want to talk about is, Sierra, you earlier mentioned, that's it for Sword and Shield. We're moving on to Scarlet and Violet. So what are you all looking forward to in the subsequent World Championships and the upcoming season?
Man, I don't even know. I haven't even thought about the next Worlds. I've been so focused on this Worlds and everything that it has to offer. I think for myself, being pretty new to VGC, being able to play from the beginning when Scarlet and Violet comes out and see how everything involves is really exciting for myself personally. And I think it'll be really cool for the people who did just start playing while there was that break in the off season to be able to come into a game right at the beginning and experience the entire competitive season all at once. Be able to go for your invite at the start of the competitive season, be familiar all with that format and go to Worlds. And I think just that translation, our own VGC Road to Worlds, I'll steal it from TCG here, it'll be really cool to see how that pans out.
I feel like my answer is a little bit different because while I am looking forward to the competition and, I'm sure that there'll be many new Pokemon available to Pokemon Go players over the next year, of course, but the Pikachu that's always revealed with the cute outfit and the costume and the art, I love the artwork that's always made for the World Championship so much, and I feel like they've done an incredible job over the past couple of years of bringing in, local flair. So I'm really hoping that next year's Worlds is somewhere where Pikachu can get a cool outfit because that's what I'm looking forward to.
And for the card game, I know that we are a little bit luckier in that aspect. I feel like our formats are constantly evolving and changing because of the new sets that we get. And the upcoming set, we're getting the Return of the Lost Zone, so that's going to be a flexible mechanic that a lot of players are excited for. There is, hints here and there that the format might be slowing down as we move away from Pokemon V Max to V Star, less prizes on the line per knockout, so games are going to be extended a little bit more, and I know our competitive players really like to have a lot of turns in their game. They want to have tons of decisions, way more avenues to try to outplay their opponents, and I hope that, the glorious Pokemon card game designers can deliver.
Absolutely. I think one thing that makes Worlds really special for Pokemon is it's not just one game, but we had 5 different games, right? We had VGC, Go, TCG, Unite, and then Pokken as well. Pokken, of course, had a very beautiful send-off. This is the last time that it'll be here at the World Championships, and for Go and Unite, this is the first time it's at the World Championships. And so I'm sure there are a lot of people who are watching right now who might not be specifically tied to one game. Maybe they're interested in one, but let's say they want to make it to the World Championships, right, or start their competitive journey. What advice would you, give for your respective games on how they can get here and maybe be a world champion next year?
Just do it. Just don't wait. Don't wait to learn how to play the game properly. Don't wait until you feel like you're good. Just go out there and play. It does not matter how bad you are. Sword and Shield, the rentals were amazing. Pick one of those up and go and lose a bunch of battles and slowly learn how to play the game. Find that time to enjoy and love the game for what it is. And then start building up from there. It's okay to go and play games with your friends and slowly learn along the ways. We're watching the top tier competition at World. Not everything is like that, and I think there's something beautiful about that as well.
Yeah, I think one thing that's true about VGC definitely and Go as well is that sometimes you get this mindset like I have to do it all. I have to build my team. I have to be the perfect player, the perfect team builder and analyst and all that. And that's not true. You can just pick up a rental code in VGC or you can just, look at what the top traders are using in Go and say, well, I have these 3 Pokemon. Why don't I just jump on the ladder and just start practicing, start learning my counts, start learning my matchups and pick up the game and try. So I agree. I think if you want to be here next year, the first step is to just start trying. And then as you play with your friends, as you get that practice in, you'll start building those skills and you'll take your first step on the way.
You'll eventually get better.
Yeah, exactly.
for the card game, you have the opportunity to connect with other people who enjoy that hobby. So don't be afraid that you aren't good when you jump in, right? Because everybody's just there. They want to share with you. And for the TCG, that's what the players want. They want you to play no matter what format, no matter what level, they're going to help you out. And I think that the key is if you want to start your journey into the competitive scene, you just have to play at your local shop. You can play online. There's lots of great communities and tutorials online to teach you. But, you know, I started out just collecting the cards before I even knew how to play. So I think, as you said, Sierra, just rekindling that love and finding your favorite Pokemon and bringing it with you wherever you go is going to be, I think, the key to getting into the card game.
I absolutely love that. I think for me, Pokemon has been so important in my life. I started playing this when I was a little kid. I literally competed in the World Championship in the juniors division when I was 10 years old. Here we are, literally 14 years later, right? And it's just meant so much to me. And I think what's really beautiful about Pokemon is, one, it's a outlet for competition, right? And I think there's so many different ways that you can choose to have that outlet because there's so many different games that you can pick, right? If you are skilled at a card game, the trading card game's for you. And if you're skilled at mobile games, right? You've got Go and you've got Unite and of course VGC. And so to me, there's like a little bit of everything for everyone, which I think is beautiful. I also, really just love, once again, that in Pokemon we have the different age divisions. I think it was so important for me when I was a kid to be able to, compete and also be able to actually perform well, because I was competing against kids around my age. And so I think Pokemon has so many things that make it unique as a franchise and as us, for competitive games. There's just so much to offer for everyone. So I think we're actually ready to get started with the award ceremony very shortly. But thank you so much for joining me. I had a blast here, and I think, once again, one of my favorite things about Worlds is being able to interact with so many different people from all kinds of different communities in Pokemon, not just one specific game. So thank you so much for joining me for the couch. This is my final time on the stream here as well. And so, yes, really, really appreciate you all for tuning in, and let's take it to a short break.
time we come together and celebrate our champions. Each of you played your very best through friendly competition and are deserving of congratulations as world competitors. Please give yourselves a big round of applause. This year we have seen some of the highest levels of competition ever at the Pokemon World Championships. And I hope that you've made many new friendships and memories. To honor our champions and finalists of the Pokemon TCG and Pokemon VGC, once again, please welcome Mr. Ishihara to the stage.
この週末のポケモントレーナーの皆さんのバトルを見て、喜びとインスピレーションでいっぱいになりました。
Trainers, your battles this weekend have filled me with joy and inspiration.
皆さんが情熱を持ってプレイしてくれるおかげで、私たちはポケモンのゲームをこうして作り続けることができています。
It's thanks to all you passionate players that we're able to continue creating Pokemon games.
この秋からポケモンの世界の新しい地方での冒険が始まります。これからそのカードとゲームの最新の情報をお届けしたいと思います。
This fall, a new journey in a new region in the world of Pokemon is about to begin. And today, I would like to share some news about our upcoming games and the future of the trading card game.
まずはこの映像をご覧ください。
First, please take a look at this video.
Minasan, 皆さんこんにちは。フィーチャーズの長島です。ご覧いただいた映像は2023年から始まるポケモンカードゲームスカーレット&バイオレットシリーズの世界初公開映像です。ポケモンワールドチャンピオンシップスにご参加の皆様と放送を見てくださっている世界中の方々に向けてご覧いただいた映像についてより詳しくお話ししたいと思います。映像内で登場した EX は今回のシリーズを象徴するロゴとなっており、生命感を感じるスマートな強さを表現したデザインとなっています。ポケモン EX は種、1進化、2進化、それぞれの進化段階で登場し、高い HP に加えて強力な技や特性を持っている代わりに倒すことができればサイドを2枚取ることができます。そんなポケモン EX の中でも特に2進化のポケモン EX は取られるサイドは2枚ですが、ポケモン VMAX に並ぶ高い HP と少ないエネルギーで強力な技を繰り出せるポケモンが多く、一気に戦況を覆す力を持っています。このように強力な2進化のポケモン EX をはじめ、様々なポケモンたちが活躍する幅広い環境になっていきます。さらにスカーレット&バイオレットシリーズでは逆転も大事なテーマになっていて、逆転のきっかけとなり得る能力を持ったポケモン、トレーナーズ、エネルギーなどが登場予定となります。今後シリーズを通してまだ見ぬポケモンやおなじみのポケモンたちもポケモン EX として登場していきますので、続報をお待ちください。ここまでお話をさせていただきましたポケモンカードゲームのスカーレット&バイオレットシリーズは、ポケモンカードゲームのニュースタンダードとしてこれまで以上の拡張性を持たせ、様々な形でゲームに刺激を与えていきます。ぜひこれからのポケモンカードゲームの進化をお楽しみに。ご清聴ありがとうございました。
長島さんありがとうございました。来年の世界大会では大きなインパクトがありそうです。
Thank you, Mr. Nagashima. That looks like we'll have quite the impact on the TCG at next year's Worlds.
それでは今年の入賞者とチャンピオンを表彰する前に、もう一つお知らせしたいニュースがあります。
Now, before we honor our finalists and champions, I have one more announcement I'd like to share.
こちらをご覧ください。
Please take a look.
11月18日発売のポケットモンスタースカーレット、バイオレットをぜひ楽しみにしていてください。
Please look forward to Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet coming November 18th.
Thank you.
Wow! Thank you, Mr. Nishihara, for those exciting announcements. And now, it's time to turn our attention to crowning this year's World Finalists and World Champions of the Pokemon Trading Card Game. Are you ready? First, welcome the Junior Division finalist from Canada, Tristan C. Junior Division World Champion from Japan, Rikuto Ohashi! From the United States, Liam Halliburton. The Masters Division finalist from Japan, Daichi Shimada. Masters Division World Champion from Czechia, Andrzej Skubal! Pokemon TCG World Championship finalists. And now, let's meet your 2022 Pokemon video game finalists. First, the Junior Division finalist from Australia, Kieran Wen. Junior Division World Champion from Japan, Saku Miyamoto. From Australia, Nicholas Khan. The 2022 Senior Division World Champion. From Japan, Yasuharu Shimizu. From Spain, Guillermo Castilla Diaz. The 2022 Masters Division World Champion. From Portugal, Eduardo Cunha. Congratulations to all of the 2022 Pokemon Video Game World Championship finalists. And now, trainers, let's give a final round of applause for all of your 2022 Pokemon World Champions.
トレーナーの皆さん、今年のご活躍、改めておめでとうございます。
Once again, congratulations to all of you on your performance this weekend.
最後にもう一つ、皆さんにお知らせしたいことがあります。
There's one more thing I'd like to share with you.
それは来年の世界大会の開催地。
That is next year's location for the Pokemon World Championships.
こちらです。
Here it is. Yeah, Mike, sure, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ishihara. Thank you for watching this year's World Championships, and we will see you next year in Yokohama!